Today, I'm going to be doing a video where I interview the founder of Tap Protocol. This is going to be a massive Bitcoin project, allowing developers to come and build on Bitcoin, basically bringing DeFi, gaming, all sorts of different things to Bitcoin. So I'm a big fan of this narrative. I'm a big fan of the Bitcoin ecosystem in general. You guys know, if you're followers of the channel, that I bought into Track Protocol all the way down at 0.21. And I believe we made around a 40 to 50x on our money from the point we bought to the heights. Now, obviously, it's dipping right now, but the overall market is dipping. So I'm not really too concerned about that. Track is the indexing side of ordinals, side of Bitcoin. And Tap Protocol is more of the building kind of development side, to the best of my knowledge. Now, obviously, I'm going to go and learn more about Tap in this interview. And I recommend that everyone listens. There is some complex terminology for some of you guys, but just try and understand it. Try and do some research, and I'm sure you're going to be very interested. So let's go straight to my interview with Benny. So we know what's been happening with the whole Bitcoin space, or at least I do, but some people may be sleeping under a rock. They may not be aware of all of the developments that's been going on with the entire Bitcoin ecosystem. Some people may have not even realized that there's projects that are building on Bitcoin. So I think it'd be great from someone who's obviously in that space themselves, if you could give some context to what this whole idea of building on Bitcoin is and some of the recent developments in that space.
Yeah, all right. So, the point with the recent developments that are happening on Bitcoin is that Bitcoin is been seen more and more like a platform. Like before we had the narrative of Bitcoin being like a means, for paying something, and then that shifted over to becoming a store of value. And now with the introduction of Bitcoin ordinals, little more than a year ago, this shifted then over time into being a narrative like Bitcoin, sorry, Bitcoin as a platform, and this is literally what a lot of projects are working on. There is already a large variety of projects and protocols for different asset types that are being developed and have been developed already, if you're just looking at ordinals themselves, which is a collectible protocol, so in other words NFTs, right? It's already, as I read at least last week, already having second place volumes, while Ethereum is still like rank 1, but it has seems to have a good second rank already. And within these ordinals, within this ordinals craze, is what from there emerges basically the idea to use Bitcoin as a platform.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a very interesting craze, like you said. All sorts of people, in retail getting involved, buying NFTs, and really getting involved with the whole Bitcoin ecosystem with Unisat, Magic Eden, and all of that. So it's great to see such an increase from something that's very, very new. Obviously, you are the main guy behind Tap Protocol, a very interesting project that's developing in the Bitcoin space. Could you maybe give people an idea of what Tap Protocol actually is and what people can expect, as well as maybe how this is different from some of the other protocols on Bitcoin that we've seen emerge in the last few months?
Okay, so the Tap protocol is in principle a protocol that sits on top of Bitcoin ordinals. Without getting too much into the details, the specifications for that protocol are encoded within ordinals. Yeah, so if you imagine that Bitcoin ordinals are sitting on Bitcoin, right? Then the Tap protocol sits on ordinals and uses that basically as an infrastructure to express assets. And the Tap protocol itself is a multi-asset protocol. It's not just a pure arbitrary token protocol, but it also enables different types of tokens that never have been seen at all anywhere across any other chain, and especially not within ordinals. So what that basically means is that you have on one hand tokens that are classically arbitrary. You just with arbitrary, I mean you enter you choose an amount of supply for a certain ticker that you have to choose yourself. But there is also a token type supported that's called digital matter theory tokens. Yeah. And this means that the tokens that are created there are non-arbitrary. So they are created based on the history of what happened on Bitcoin. Why is that important? It is important because when you release a token, you can showcase, on one hand, you can showcase basically what the supply is based on. Yeah, and this is then being done through patterns that occur on the Bitcoin chain. So this is basically based on data that has been calculated already. So it's a pre-calculated way of defining tokens. It's pretty cool. And on top of that, it supports collectibles, especially when it comes to DMT. There is a part of that is that in the same way you can create these DMT tokens, you can create digital matter theory collectibles. They're called UNATs. Yeah? And they are all these different asset classes are managed within the protocol. And of course, a protocol doesn't just specify what tokens or assets in general exist there, but protocols also specify what is supposed to happen and what action. For example, minting. How are they coming to be? Yeah. How are they getting deployed and minted and transferred? How is the account balancing supposed to work? So this is all happening within the TAP protocol, and you can consider it as a mix between a chain, quote unquote, on its own and a smart contract. Yeah, it's neither something completely new. But that is probably an analogy that somebody can like pull if there's a hard time of understanding how that actually works there, right? So, and the TAP protocol specifically differs from other protocols that are operating in a similar vein. Like, for example, BRC20 is that the TAP protocol follows the open-close principle of software engineering, which means you are you're open to enhancements and closed to changes, and that means that it is a dynamic protocol, which means that that the protocol itself is expanding in functionality over time, which the other protocols usually do not do. With usually, I mean literally like I didn't come across a protocol that does that actually, right? But you cannot rule out that this principle will be picked up by other protocols in the future. If you compare that, for example, to BRC20, BRC20 has a very limited set of functions, of features. That's mostly about deploying and minting and transferring, and that's it. And the TAP protocol goes far, far beyond, when it comes to actual functionality. So what it does is basically having a self-similarity to Bitcoin as a platform itself, where the protocol itself acts also as a platform, namely a development platform. Generally, since things are working differently than let's say with smart contracts in EVM, right? You have you need to have a different approach about programmability and feature sets for this type of protocol, and this is being then reflected there. That's basically the main difference. If you allow me to, because some people might have a question about how does that differ with runes, for example. Yeah,
Yep.
If somebody heard about runes. Runes, super cool protocol. We already released a UTXO protocol that's loosely based on that idea 6 months ago. But the difference is the type of audience, right? So from a technical perspective, it's simply like this, that the TAP protocol is an account based protocol, while runes isn't. Yeah, without getting into details, what then are the technical differences? It just means it's a different beast. Yeah. And these meta protocols in generally have, because of the way how they are able to express functionality, have a completely different feature set, or let's call it like this, that the features that you can create with meta protocols are slightly more powerful than UTXO protocols, yeah, in terms of that you have like self-emerging features there. While with UTXO protocols, you really need to get in the nitty-gritty of things. You really need to know how everything works in detail within Bitcoin, especially Bitcoin transactions and their BRPs, which is cool. It's just that that it has a very steep learning curve. Yeah. And the TAP protocol is very developer friendly in that sense, that you literally have everything at hand in a very developer friendly way to create upon.
So some people may be asking, based on some of the tweets and some of the posts you guys have been making on X, what promises and authorities are, because I see a lot of references to this terminology. Could you explain maybe to someone who's completely new and doesn't understand what those terms mean, how they relate to TAP?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, authorities in general are a hook into the TAP protocol, which is basically allows for no knowledge interfacing. Yeah, not to mix it up with zero knowledge rollups, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a no knowledge thing where an authority can basically do things whatever they want to with. Can be either a centralized service like for gamification, it converts points into tokens and issues these, right? It can also be a decentralized interfacing into the TAP protocol that's actually using ZK rollups, right? And all that protocol needs to know is then basically who the authority, yeah, basically allowed which either funds to move, or which with edge assets are supposed to get minted to what party. Yeah, so that's all that it does, because there is you cannot put that really all into one indexer, because at some point it would bloat the indexing technically. So you with that way you shift that basically into sub indexes. That's all that it is in the end. But it allows for like vast variety of applications. And currently we have implemented token authority and just recently privilege authorities. And privilege authorities enable things like whitelists, launchpads, right? All the things that you know, like from EVM chains. Yeah.
Yep.
But these are now possible on an L1, namely Bitcoin through the TAP protocol, which usually would require smart contract development and things like that. You need to find somebody, who codes it for you, right? It's built in. Yeah, all you need to do is like follow the specifications, and you're good to go doing that. And one of the next upgrades are privilege authorities. Yeah, you can hear already there will be like three major legs to stand on, three different authorities. There will be the promises authorities. And this is a completely new way at looking at things, how to compute smart contract-like behavior to allow for DeFi within the TAP protocol. So literally staking, bonds, all this kind of stuff, that comes with DeFi. And we like to call that, because it works differently, OrdFi, ordinals-based DeFi, so to say.
So already I can see, if we go on your website, there's already projects building on TAP. And I'm really interested to hear the types of projects that are going to be coming over to TAP protocol and building.
Yeah, there's for example the Foxy project. It's a really great metaverse project that's already building on and for the TAP protocol. This includes also gamification, just as a concrete example. Then there are actually two launchpads building on the TAP protocol right now. That's TAP Starter and Launchpunks. They are making use, for example, of privilege authority, because it's a perfect use case for for launchpads to use. And there are various different ones we're getting, like literally requests like every day, because people are discovering the feature set, the richness of what you can actually do there. And just yesterday, a super interesting talk with a real estate firm that is looking into using the protocol, because it exactly matches their requirement, especially in terms of regulations within the location, and it can even go so far like this. So far, I haven't really seen anything that wouldn't be possible. And now we have like the concrete projects building on the protocol.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's round about, I believe, round about 50 projects that we are aware of that are building right now. That would be probably a little bit too much to list. But just to give an example, gamification, launch pads, whitelist projects that simply whitelist collections, for example. mscribe.io is an example. They use the TAP protocol to issue UNETs, these collectibles, right? And up to what I just said about real estate, tokenization of real estate.
I imagine there's many people listening right now who are interested in the project, and maybe they want to, have some kind of form of the token. How would people be able to get involved and potentially acquire the TAP token?
Okay, yeah, the TAP token itself is a TAP protocol token, so it's super important probably to know that it's not on BRC20 or other protocols. Literally the TAP protocol, hence TAP token. Yeah, it's not released yet. So, but you can get involved in that already by holding the track token. That is actually a BRC20 token, or pipe tokens, which is a pipe protocol token that emerged from the track project as a whole. So holders of these are getting airdrop TAP tokens. So that is something how you can get involved with already. And upon release, these then will be airdropped to the people. And after the TAP tokens will be going live, people will be able to get these on the open market, for example. And it's probably also, not probably, it's pretty sure that these are getting required at some point for the utility within the TAP protocol. So the involvement there with TAP tokens using certain aspects of the protocol will require TAP token. Another interesting thing is that the parent project track is going to release validators for literally like validating all this indexing that needs to be done for that. And there we are working on a program that allows you to convert your track tokens into a license for the validators that yields basically TAP as a reward for helping the network stability there.
My final question towards you, Benny, is where do you see the future of the Bitcoin kind of ecosystem, as it's called now, and TAP protocol in general? Maybe in a few years' time, and then maybe obviously 5-10 years down the line. Do you see this as potentially being like the default place for projects to come and build? I'm really interested in your take on this.
Yeah, my take on this is that since everything is built on Bitcoin, that protocols like the TAP protocol will participate in the also in the narrative of Bitcoin being a store of value. So that means that it enables the different protocols then to benefit from that also. So if it's super simple, it's like the if you see BTC or Bitcoin and BTC as its store value over time, the different projects that use that as a platform, they will benefit from that also. Yeah. When it comes to viability, yeah, and of course you will have projects, you know, that are success. You will have projects that are not a success. You will need the infrastructure, the protocols to carry all this. Yeah, and that's where I see the TAP protocol being very prominent, especially in the next few years, and also especially in combination with our track indexing. Yeah. Which supports all that. Yeah, we will see even at least when it comes from our place, a lot about entertainment that goes beyond gaming. Yeah, consuming entertainment in terms of streaming, for example. Yeah, doesn't mean that this is all going to be settled then on the Bitcoin ledger, but it's for sure being centric around Bitcoin. Yeah, and that's something that we see within the next year having a very strong demand coming from.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Benny, for taking the time out of your day to do this interview. I'm interested if you've got any final remarks to anyone, any closing statements.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, everyone, for staying with the TAP protocol, also with Track in the last 12, 13 months, right? There are people that are literal OGs with Track and TAP itself. And it's really cool to have a really huge supporting community. And I'm really happy and thankful that we actually have that. Yeah, since it's a long has been a long way, right? And there will be a lot more to come. So super happy and thankful, and big shout out to all these people supporting us.
Amazing. Thank you so much.